We're back with Hittin Hard with John Chuckery here on Locked On Sports Atlanta. And two things coming up this weekend that are big and kind of on the opposite ends of the spectrum that we want to hit on this weekend. Obviously, the men's Final Four taking place this weekend. As one of the things that I do love about college basketball is I've always been a big fan of the Final Four weekend, especially the national semifinal games. My philosophy has always been when you look at the national semifinals, at this point, teams have had to win 4 straight games with very little prep and time to figure some things out, especially on that second game, right? You get time to prepare for that first game, but that second game, you got a day and then you got to get back at it. So these are teams that are geared up and ready to go, and some of the best when you talk about the NCAA Final Four. And these have always been some of my favorite matchups of all time in the world of college basketball. I remember back to 87, Indiana and UNLV hooking up, Steve Alford and Freddie Banks and Armand Gilliam, and just some of the great matchups. Louisville and Houston in 83, the Dunk Fest in the second half that game for Phi Slamma Jamma. Just so many great games in the national semifinal that to me really stick out. So now this year we have obviously Villanova, Kansas, two of the real blue blood programs in the world of college basketball. But more importantly is we've got Carolina and Duke. First time ever that they're going to hook up and meet with each other. Coach K's on his retirement tour, right? He's trying to win the national title. Has he become a favorite now? I'm not. I still hope Duke loses by 30. I mean, I hope Carolina beats them by 30. I'll be honest with you. I want to see Carolina blow them out. I want to see Carolina win, and I want to see them blow them out, so that Coach K can go out knowing that, hey, I lost in not just didn't I lost my final game in the national semifinal, a step away from winning a national championship, and I lost to the Carolina, and we got blown out. Now, I don't know if that's going to happen, but again, I think Duke's probably the best team still in the tournament, and they look outstanding this year. But it is a great matchup of Duke, Carolina, and Villanova, Kansas, because I think that's one of the things. If you're not going to have a St. Peter's type of story where you have not just a Midland seed, but a 15 seed that gets itself into the national tournament or national semifinals, I should say. If you're not going to have that, then give me the Blue Bloods. Then give me the best of the best. Give me the best programs in college basketball. Give me the best coaches in college basketball. Think about Jay Wright. You've got Coach K, Bill Self. You got 3 of the absolute top best coaches in the sport today that are in this. And Hubert Davis is a guy coaching Carolina that's learning his trade and figuring things out. But the matchups out of all of it. So I do think it lends for some excitement this weekend. I think Duke does beat Carolina, although I'm rooting for Carolina in all this thing. And I think Villanova beats Kansas. And now you've got arguably the 2 best programs in college basketball right now playing in the national final of Duke and Villanova. That's what the Final Four should be. The Final Four should be a celebration of excellence. If you're not going to, I'm not interested in like a 4, 6, 8, 9 seed. If it's not going to be a 15, 16 type of seed on a miracle run, then give me all the top seeds. Give me the 1s and 2s out of all of it. Give me the blue blood programs. Give me the best players in America. Because that's the other thing too, is I want to see the best players in America. I want to see all the first team All-Americans hook up. I remember when it was Patrick Ewing and Akeem Olajuwon that were going tete-a-tete with one another in the national final. I remember when, it was Ewing on one side against Michael Jordan, Sam Perkins, and those guys on another. I remember when it was Leitner, Hurley, and Grant Hill going against Larry Johnson and Stacey Augmon and those guys. I want to see the top players, and those mostly come from the best programs in the country. So I think it's Duke and Villanova, and then I'm going to take Villanova. What the hell? I'll take Villanova and say Villanova wins the national championship. It's going to be tough. They've got one of their best players that's going to be out, so we'll see how but Villanova is so resilient. They're so well coached. I know Duke is really the favorite and the sentimental favorite right now, but screw it. I'm not going to pick Coach K or anything like that. So I'll take Villanova and Duke in the national final, and I'll take Villanova to win the whole thing. Now, also coming up Saturday and Sunday, Wrestlemania from Dallas, Texas, Jerry's World. I don't know how many people they're going to have. It's a 100,000 seat stadium. They ain't going to have 100,000 people there. They got 2 nights of WrestleMania. to try to sell 200,000 tickets. They were already doing the buy one, get one free and all that good kind of stuff. So you know that they're not going to sell out, 200,000 tickets in back-to-back nights. As far as the matches go and some of the predictions, so the Steve Austin, Kevin Owens, I'll say match, but it will be a cinematic match. Look, they're going to make Stone Cold Steve Austin look as good as possible. There's not a chance on earth Kevin Owens is going to get over on Steve Austin. Not for this buildup, not for this. The smart thing that they have done in this feud is at least they have not let these guys see one another or touch one another. And I sort of wanted to see that with Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns, but they haven't let these two guys see or touch one another. So it builds up the drama and anticipation. Now, I think they've done the Lesnar Roman Reigns feud really well, but there have been some little missteps, I think, along the way of letting these guys get too close to one another or see one another too much. But as far as Austin and Owens goes, I definitely want to take, Austin to come out shining. He'll look like the best of all time out of all of this. The two other matches that I'm interested in besides the main event are the women's matches. Charlotte Flair versus Ronda Rousey. Ronda Rousey has committed to a year with WWE. So I expect that they're going to put the belt on her. I think one of the things about the women's division, because we're going to talk about this with Becky as well, the women's division needs an infusion of some different talent. They don't have the momentum that they had a few years ago, right? Becky and Charlotte have so clearly established themselves as really two of the biggest stars in the company, not just women stars, but I'm talking about two of the biggest stars in the company. Becky's been the leading merchandise seller at different points. She was the most over baby face that they had in the company a couple of years ago. So they've really established themselves. Charlotte is as good a heel as there is in the business, but they need that infusion. With Bayley not being around, Sasha's kind of moved down the card. With all due respect, I mean, they haven't booked Rhea Ripley very well. They haven't done anything with that. I think Ronda is going to get the title. I think they're going to put the title on Ronda and let Charlotte go back to trying to chase her for it. Or they're going to start to bring some other heels in to start chasing after Ronda Rousey. So she's committed to a year. So she's going to be around for a while. She's going to get you through, probably SummerSlam to Survivor Series and all those kinds of things. So she's going to be around for a while. So you got plenty of time to get some stuff out of her. But I think for a different infusion than just keeping the belt on Charlotte and the next vagabond comes along to just try to wrestle her, the next, whatever, the next pseudo baby face that's not all that popular comes along to wrestle her. I think they're going to put the belt on Ronda Rousey and let Charlotte go back to trying to chase her for all of it. Now, with Becky and Bianca Belair, Becky Lynch versus Bianca Belair for the other women's championship, I do think that they're going to put it on Bianca Belair. I do think that they're going to take it off of Becky, and it's because I think they did Bianca wrong, but they need more infusion of talent. They need some new stars in the women's division besides just Charlotte and Becky. And I think Bianca having the title makes a lot of sense for that. And then in the main event, Lesnar versus Roman Reigns, I'm very much looking forward to this match. This is the one thing for sure on the show that I don't want to miss. I think Roman's going to go over. And I think Roman Reigns is going to win the title, and I think he's going to unify the title. His character is so good. And knowing that Brock plays sort of hokey pokey with the WWE, and I know he's committed for a while and things like that, but the idea of Roman with Paul Heyman and keeping that going and him being the unified champion, that has been a perfect fit. That would be a perfect fit where the Usos and everybody, they've got all the big titles, right? So I do think Roman is going to, if you will, get his revenge on Brock Lesnar, but I think Roman's going to go over. I think that character has been too good, and with Paul Heyman at his side, because what are you going to do on SmackDown? The Fox network has, all these billions of dollars into WWE. Their biggest stars need to be on that brand. With all due respect to Raw and USA Network, their biggest stars need to be on Fox, on broadcast Fox version. That's why I think Roman's going to get it, and that character has been so good. so good so far with Paul Heyman. So we'll see what happens 2 nights of WrestleMania. Excited to get into it. So, all right. Thanks for being with us on our very first edition of Hitting Hard with John Chuckery. So remember, we're going to be here 5 days a week with you. We're going to be here Monday through Friday, covering all things around Atlanta sports and a few things beyond, as we just talked a little bit about our RASSLIN. That's wrestling. We want you to subscribe to our YouTube channel. We want you to like and review us. You can find us on all of your favorite podcast platforms, on Odyssey and all the different networks that are out there. But definitely subscribe to our YouTube channel. We'll put the links up for you to do all of that. Rate and review. Tell us if you like what you're hearing, and we will certainly be with you here moving forward through all during the week and all kinds of good stuff coming up. So this has been Hitting Hard with John Chuckery on Locked On Sports Atlanta.